hilarious that Taylor Swift has spent all of her career trying to be Stevie Nicks' daughter and it's never quite landed. And after listening to this album, I fully understand why Taylor Swift hates her. This is like, this is as close as we're gonna get. Rodrigo's third studio album, I think, came out. It's called You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love. I listened to it. I want to give a disclaimer before I start my review. I listened to it more than twice. I usually listen to albums 2 times. But I listened to it a few days ago, the 2 times I needed to, and then I didn't want to listen to anything else so I could have it fresh in my mind because I had a lot of thoughts on it. So then I ended up listening to it a few times. So it did get a chance to grow on me in a way that other albums haven't really gotten a chance to. This is great. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's great. I think it's hard to judge and have a conversation about a pop album without talking about the music industry in general, right? Because pop just means popular music, right? It just means what the general public is listening to, and pop music is kind of always a reflective of where the music industry is. I decided if I want to start with the good or the bad. I guess we'll start with the bad, which is with that it's a reflection of pop music right now. And the problem with artists like her, I can go down the list. I would argue Taylor Swift. I would argue current, like new Ariana Grande falls into this category. Harry Styles is kind of, to me, one of the worst culprits of this. And I see it happen a lot of times on this album, which is that these artists are obviously inspired by their favorite artist, which is, or like by a genre or an era of music, and that's great. And then they go to kind of, Bruno Mars, forgot about him. Bruno Mars, another great example of this. Anyways, they go to kind of recreate that sound that they love so much, but what they do is create like a stripped down version of it and then call it their own. So if there is a specific sound for the 70s or a specific sound that is 80s music, that's 90s music, right, that you can hear it right away, even if you've never heard the song before, and know, oh, this song probably came out in the 80s, right, because I can hear the sound. I know what it sounds like, right? We have one for every single decade, right? If I had to make an argument for what the 2020s is going to sound like what the argument of like how you can tell a song came out in the 2020s, my argument is that you are going to be able to tell right away because it is going to sound hollow. It is going to sound empty. A clear reason why so much of the music that comes out from our current pop stars sound like parodies, right? Sound like songs that we would hear a fake pop star sing on a TV show or in a movie. And it is because they are taking the main components of a specific sound, whether that be 80s, whether that be 70s soul, whether that be 90s R&B, right? And they are taking the main components that make those sounds and they are just recreating that while stripping it of all the interesting parts that artists brought of themselves to these specific sounds. I'm going to get jumped for bringing it up, but the perfect example of this, like a very clear one, is Ariana Grande and Mariah Carey, right? Where Ariana Grande, you can see the clear influences of Mariah Carey in her music, right? And you can see the places in where she is recreating Mariah Carey's kind of signature sound because she has the talent to be able to do that, but she is stripping the music of all the interesting parts that Mariah brought to it. There's nothing wrong with trying to emulate someone's style. There's nothing wrong with being inspired by someone else's style of music, right? Because all art should be collaborative, right? So it should be that you're using that as a starting point, and then instead of bringing what they brought of themselves, you are supposed to bring of yourself, and the end result should be something entirely different. This generation of artists are skipping the part where you bring of yourself to a sound. Because of that, it all just sounds extremely generic. On this album, there are a few moments that remind me of that, right? To me, The Curse is the worst example of it, right? Where a song with such powerful lyrics, a song that's so well written, and the beat just never really builds the way that it should, right? Like if the song is heartbroken, it's anguished, and it's angry, how come I'm not hearing that? A video up here of someone like playing the guitar and also playing the drums on The Curse, right? And like being like, hey, this is what it would sound like if it was a full rock song. And then suddenly it clicked for me. I'm like, oh my God, that sounds so much better. And it's like, that's what this song is missing. Like you're not really committing to it. But this concept is not something that is specific to Olivia Rodrigo, right? I think she is a product of her environment. She's a product of her generation. It is a problem that's happening with all of the artists of her generation. And I could make the argument that it boils down to this idea of I wrote this, I produced this, I made all of this, when art should be collaborative, right? If you want to create something that's never been created before, you need to work with people who people have never worked for before, right? Like, there is only one feature on this entire album, and arguably the feature is kind of the best part. There's a song on this album called My Way where she is essentially talking shit to a girl who thinks likes her man. It's basically like, back the fuck up, right? She says, you're in the air just like bad perfume. It's getting to me embarrassingly. And here's the part where the girl gets pissed and the girl is me. Did you get the hint? You're in my way. To me, this would have been a brilliant moment to have a Sabrina Carpenter feature. I think she would have been perfect on this song, right? Especially after all of the years of the kind of rumors of them going back and forth, and allegedly they've cleared the air now, so this would have been a fun moment. To me, this is the opposite whatever a feminist anthem is, which is, I think it's fine. There's room in the world to have negative feelings and to admit that you're a jealous person and that sometimes you don't like people. There is room for that conversation to happen, right? And I think it also would have reminded me a lot of like what Charlie XCX did on Sympathy is a Knife, if I remember correctly, that featured Lorde. To me, they could have had an opportunity to do that again here. The song having a kind of call and response moment where she's talking shit to this girl and the girl gets to talk shit back to her would be a more interesting story than just having her kind of whine about this girl for 3 minutes. The industry as a whole is stuck in this place where either you are using features as a crutch, right, where everyone is being lazy as hell and is trying to do whatever it will be like the most catchiest, so we'll throw all the big names in the entire world on a song if that's what will chart, if that's what will get the stands going, and then it's either that or it's I have to do everything all by myself to prove that I am an artist, and we are really truly losing the art of collaborating. And I feel like so many of our favorite artists, she's to me is like the female version of Harry Styles. Harry Styles is another person that I think has a lot of raw talent, right, and also does make good music, doesn't make great music, but makes good music. But the potential for it to be great is there. You just need to find your collaborator. Like everybody wants to be Justin Timberlake, forgetting that you need a Timberland. And like everyone so desperately needs to go out and find their collaborator. I think vocally she sounds great until she does that one thing that I fucking hate that she does a lot, which I guess is part of her signature sound, but I think that she should let it go. And it's when she does like kind of like talking thing, right, when she's doing like that kind of like that second verse part where it's like the second, like the fast talking. I hate it every single time that she does that. I think it's what makes her music sound so childish, because as I'm listening to the music and I'm listening to the content and the actual lyrics, the lyrics themselves don't sound that immature, right? Like I feel like she is discussing like an adult relationship and is going about it and discussing it in like a deep and meaningful and in kind of honest way. And she throws that all away when she starts doing that talking, chanting thing. Like it's just so high school. Rodrigo to me is proving on this album that she does the one thing that a lot of our new generation of stars who claim to be songwriters and their skill is songwriting, she does the one thing that most of them cannot do correctly. It's the argument that I make time and time again, that songwriting is not just about the lyrics. That is not the only, being able to write lyrics is not the only thing that it takes to make you a good songwriter. And so many of the new pop girls are so heavily dependent on the fact that they are being as personal as possible, that they are exposing as much of their personal life, giving as many details as possible in their storytelling as a way to be like, I'm such a great songwriter, but then the song itself is shitty. If the only reason why your song is good is because the lyrics are good, then guess what? That's actually not a good song. For it to be a good song, I should be able to change every single lyric in the song to be a song about nothing, to be a song about bullshit, and the song should still sound good. I'm making the argument, hey, this is not a very good song, and then your rebuttal is, well, the lyrics are so good. Well, guess what? That's not the only component you need to make a good song. Olivia Rodrigo does not hide behind her song lyrics, right? Like, yes, she is a phenomenal songwriter. Yes, she is writing really deep and honest and raw lyrics, and they are really doing their job, right? But she is still making sure that she's constructing together a good song. Her production is still very good. That's something that can't be said about a lot of the pop and R&B girls whose talent is songwriting. An album about love, falling out of love, and getting your heart broken, which does not justify the rollout, but I'm not gonna have time to get into that in this video. When I am listening to, specifically with the women, when I'm listening to their music, one of the things I'm asking is, when I'm walking away from this album, am I learning something about you, right? You can write an album about love, but I should still feel like it is centering your experiences and your feelings. I should live this album feeling like I know something about you, and I think that she does that very well, right? She is very critical of herself. She's very self-aware. She's very honest about her flaws and where she fails. My favorite song on this album is called Honeybee, and it reminds me a lot of Stevie Wonder's song, right? Which not because they sound similar or they're the same quality of song, but in that song where Stevie Wonder says, I don't want to bore you with this, but I love you, I love you, I love you, and he just keeps repeating that, right? And that song is so beautiful because it's so simple, right? Like, he could have been a songwriter and he could have tried to think of 1,000,001 metaphors, and he's like, no, it's just that simple. I think she does the same thing here. The vulnerability to admitting that you're a songwriter and you still can't think of the words to describe the feelings that you're having. She says, it's hard to explain this in a way that feels honest, but even when I'm quiet, I love you, baby, I promise. And I hope I never see what your face looks like going, a face I swear that I could spend my whole life knowing. Here's to hoping. really simple, but it's really beautiful and really poetic and really honest. She does it again on Stupid Song, where she basically says, like, there isn't a stupid song that I could write that could describe how I feel about you, right? And essentially poking fun at herself. Like, what I do for a living is write stupid songs, and it doesn't matter. And there's this level of, like, self-degradation and self-deprecation that's really brilliant on an album about falling in love and then it not working out. Falling in love and then still kind of being this fucked up person, thought that it was going to fix your entire life, and it didn't. It's genuinely a really good album.